you're in the right place for the Paykeeper webinar. I mean, we can just start kind of chit-chatting about it. We've used Paykeeper. I think we had Kelly on the podcast last year when we first had launched,
Mhm.
but I don't know if we've done an actual webinar with you guys, at least for a while, if not ever. But I
Mhm.
know that ever since we started using Paykeeper and worked out any of the kinks right at the launch, I think the feedback that we've gotten certainly from our team is we love using it because it makes our lives so much easier. Like everybody on our project acceptance team, everybody on the project management is just like, oh great, we can get paid on this. We see it all right there, and it makes it super easy to just keep those milestones and hold everybody accountable. So yeah, I think we can probably get started. I'm your host, Danny O'Malley. Obviously, I've got Andy Schwartz, our VP of Sales, and then we have Jeremy and Tara from Paykeeper, and they are going to help walk us through why it's a great platform to use when you have customers who want to pay cash but don't want to pay cash, if that makes sense. So we can take it from there. Jeremy, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, and we'll go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for the opportunity to go over this together. Kind of to what you mentioned, we're really here to make everyone's life better. That's kind of the vibe, right? Is like, of course, our EPCs and our contractors love it, but the idea is to make the experience better for the homeowner, to make your experience better as a sales rep and sales company. Like it is meant to kind of benefit the whole experience. So we'll dive into that a little bit today and cover those things. But in the reality, we're just trying to make the cash system for paying for solar as easy, as simple as possible and as safe as possible. So that we're going to cover those things today. A few things to just mention up front. So we've got Tara here. She's going to be managing the Q&A on our side. So if in the chat, if you want to send in any questions as we're going about, she'll be there to do some live answers. I've also got time at the end of the presentation for open discussion Q&A where I can answer some of those questions. So Tara may say, hey, we'll hold off to Q&A to address that, and I'll make sure to cover it. So I want to make sure that that's an open forum. Also, if you have a question, there's a chance I might cover it later in my slide too. So think about that as well. But we'll jump through everything today. The goal is I want you to be able to leave this webinar today feeling confident about Paykeeper, feeling confident about how to speak to it with your homeowners, and knowing the value that it brings. So we're going to cover those things today, and we'll go ahead and get started. So as you can tell, today our theme is escrow made simple. So let me move on to our next slide here. Now, you might hear the word escrow and think, well, that's not simple, right? You might think, well, that's a whole complicated process, right? So let me start there. Escrow is actually simple. If you break it down, escrow is just a neutral third party holding funds until the agreed upon work is completed. That's it. There's not a lot more complexity to that. With that comes a lot of benefits, a lot of value, a lot of simplicity. But at the end of the day, it's just us as a neutral third party holding on to funds until work is completed. And we'll get into how that's beneficial to everybody involved. A couple of things. Now, from your perspective on the sales side of things, you might be thinking, okay, I sell a cash deal, get a check, move on with my life, right? Everything's good to go. There's a lot more that happens in a cash deal than just that. That impacts not only you, but the homeowner and also the contractor. And some of those complexities can really build up and delay things and cause more issues. And Paykeeper makes sure that all of those things become a lot more simple. So we'll get into how that happens as well. Paykeeper's the solution. Did you want to say something, Danny?
Yeah,
Chime in
well,
there.
I was just going to add, I mean, just to kind of touch back on the word escrow, and I think if you aren't familiar with it, I mean, if we were in a live audience, I'd say show of hands, who's got a mortgage and who's got an escrow account or whatever. If you've never gone through that giant stack of disclosures at your bank or lender of choice or whatever, it can be intimidating, and your homeowner probably remembers that and is like, oh God, what? No, I don't want to go through that again. But really, like Jeremy said, escrow is super simple. All it is just a separate dedicated account that's just for some of those additional expenses. On if we're talking a mortgage, it's for, like, I've got one, it's for homeowners insurance and my property tax. I don't have to think about it. If you don't have an escrow account, you do have to, like, oh yeah, shoot, it's that time. I got to write that check. I got to, let me look through the records and figure out what I got to do or everything. Don't worry about it. that's where Paykeeper comes in and makes it super easy. So I just wanted to make sure everybody is on the same page of, what that means, escrow simplified. So
Love that. Thank you. To that same point, I will guarantee you, Paykeeper escrow does not come with a stack of paperwork. So don't be worried about that. It's a couple buttons. You
I
can
don't I
definitely get
don't need
there.
a printer and like, a couple reams of
No,
paper. No,
no,
great. That sounds
no,
awesome,
don't
man.
worry about it. You don't need a suitcase for us. We'll be fine. Okay, so we'll get into the breakdown of the process of how it simply works. So it's just three simple steps is how Paykeeper works. So when you sell a cash deal through Paykeeper, they will receive a link, which we'll get into on the next slide of how that works and what that looks like. But they will simply fund the escrow account. They have that $1,000 deposit that they're used to. And then prior to scheduling install, they will have all the funds for the escrow in the escrow account. Then, when milestones are met, us as Paykeeper will verify those milestones that work has been completed according to the contract. And then we will release portions of those funds to ESP upon completion. The value here, cash is kind of a all hands up in the air, right? Like both parties are taking on some risk. Contractors taking on some risk outside of Paykeeper of saying, hope we get money at the end when we're done, right? Like hope we can chase it down and we can get it and they'll pay us, right? On the homeowner side, there's a little bit of risk that they're taking on. They're saying, I'm going to pay a chunk up front. Hope they don't just run away with that and they actually do the work that they're supposed to do, right? There's always this kind of nervousness that can happen, which I'm sure you've seen. Paykeeper, as a third party, solves that problem. You're putting your funds in your escrow account up front. Contractor knows all those funds are there, reserved for me, so I can be confident moving forward. Homeowner knows these funds aren't going to be moved out of my account to the contractor until work's actually been completed. So it eases all that risk on both sides of things, makes it a lot more simple.
You
Now,
guys get to play referee in the middle, kind of. You say,
yeah,
yeah, all right, we made it. Let's go. Yep.
yeah, we're those people. That's why it's beneficial to have that neutral third party. You'll notice step 3 on the slide is that homeowner has approval for the final payout. This is important. Homeowner might want to be like, I want to make sure my job's done according to my contract, it's completed, nothing gets left undone. I want to make sure things are completed. Well, we give them that leverage at the end of a project with 5% to be able to say, hey, you ran over my bush. Before I give you this 5%, come plant me a new bush to make sure it's taken care of, right? Those little things come up. I'm sure you've seen it, but it makes far more sense to be talking about 5% than like 50%, which typically happens in a cash deal outside of Paykeeper. So there's still leverage, there's still value. It's just a little bit more reasonable than the things that come up at the end of a job. So that's kind of the simplicity. We'll go into next on the next slide about how you go about doing that. But that's the simplicity of Paykeeper. Andy, Danny, did you want to add anything in this piece of the process before I move on to how we go about doing it?
No, I think simple is good.
Yep.
And let's just keep it at that. I think the word escrow, think safe, right? It's like a safety deposit box for the money, like so the homeowner feels comfortable. And we'll jump into it kind of at the end, but like handing over a check might be the most dangerous thing a homeowner can do.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
and maybe dangerous isn't the best word, but
Unsecure, maybe that's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
unsecure.
Sure.
If because the check could end up anywhere, right? And so if you wanted to make somebody feel really comfortable purchasing something from you, this might be the safest way to do it.
Yep. Great. So how? Well, it's pretty simple. Through your guys' system, when you select Paykeeper, and I think Andy, you're going to go into some of the specifics of how to create a deal. Is that right? Do you plan on going through that at all later?
A little bit, yeah. We're
A little
basically going
bit.
to send a link.
Okay. Yeah,
That's as
that's the short
specific
of
as
it.
it's going to get.
Okay. Okay. They will receive a link. That's true. How that goes about, don't worry about it. The link they will click on and they'll get to this page. This is where it says, okay, here's your $1,000 deposit. But we offer flexibility. The $1,000 deposit is what's required at the door, right? But say they're like, I've got the cash now. I know this is just going into an escrow account. It's not being sent to ESP yet. If I want to just reserve all my funds now, they can. They have that flexibility. You'll see deposit, you'll see full contract amount, you'll see custom amount. They have flexibility. Don't worry about these specifics now. Just know that there's options. On the operations side, ESP has it all figured out about when to request funds, how to collect it. That's all on their side of things. they'll be able to come here, select bank account, and put in their ACH information or credit card if they would like to. And then they simply click pay now, and those funds are in the escrow. That's it. No paperwork, no, yes, I agree, no editing in your blood type, none of that stuff. It's just here's how much I want to pay, here's my payment information, click pay now, and then they get a confirmation of when that's done and completed. That's as simple as it gets.
I do have
The
one
last piece, yeah, go ahead.
before that even happens. When the docs are signed, right? You're in the home. I'm a sales rep. I'm at the kitchen table. I just signed docs, and we're going to set this up. We can send the link right then and there. Literally, the most difficult part of this is going to be, hey, customer, go get your cell phone. Let's hope that they have one, right? They're going to pick up their phone. They're going to get a text, right? Or an email with the link to log in. They're then going to have to create a password, which for some is very difficult, but Paykeeper makes it super easy, and they're going to have to log in and create an account. Then you'll see that first Fund Your Escrow account screenshot on here, right, Jeremy?
Yep.
And then you'll
And I'm going to
log
make your
in
life,
and fill out the info.
yeah, I'm going to make your life even a little bit easier. The
Sweet.
last thing I want you to have to deal with is sit here and troubleshoot password stuff. You don't want to do it. I don't want to make you do it. Right? That's why we have Tara here. See, it's the way we had Tara. This is why she's special.
Nice.
Worst case scenario, right? It's always going to be simple, but we know that there's sometimes one-off things that get, think that can come up. I want you to know you've got a direct line to us. I will give you all of our contact information at the end of the slide. Do not hesitate to pick up the phone. We will do live support in the moment. Don't feel like you've got to wait. We can get this done as quick as possible. So it doesn't have to be a whole thing, doesn't have to be this massive troubleshooting. It's get you in, get you paid. That's our goal. So don't feel like you've got to sit here and troubleshoot on your own. You've got us to take care of you in those rare circumstances that happens, right?
Cool.
Okay. The last piece, very simple. When it comes to that final approval, once the job's done and they're saying, hey, has it been done according to your satisfaction? They get a link, they click on it, they get this page of yes, everything's good, let's release those 5%, or no, you ran over my bush. And they can say ran over my bush. Don't worry about any of this. The operations knows how to manage these, know how to see them, they know how to resolve them. Just know that this is kind of what that experience looks like for that homeowner when that time comes. Literally one button that they can click and leave a comment if they need to. We know that not everybody's going to want to or need to even do this process. So we've got a process in place where if they ignore it, we get paid out anyway. So you don't have to worry about telling somebody how to or how to expect it. If they're all good and they do nothing, there's a system in place to make sure that payout still occurs. So we are good there. That's the process for as far as like how it goes about being set up and being done. I want to talk to you a little bit more about how we can kind of leverage Paykeeper as a sales tool. And Andy, I'd love you to chime in anywhere here if you've got some more specifics, but I wanted to cover a few things that we've seen across the board be beneficial for sales teams when it comes to Paykeeper. So the simpler you can make a solution, the better. The more safe you can make a solution, the better, right? We've seen many, many times that Paykeeper is the difference between a sell or no sell, right? Cash may be the very best option for an individual. With interest rates being high, they may have the funds. This may be the very best method, but there can be reservation of, I'm worried. I'm worried of just giving cash to somebody. Paykeeper is that solution. We've seen time and time again of this was not going to sell, but it has now because we have a safe and secure method like Paykeeper to collect cash funds. Leverage that. Use that as a sales tool to be able to close the deal. When you build trust with homeowners, it's a smoother negotiation when it comes to selling this type of thing. So that you can talk about how here's things to kind of bring up when it comes to talking about the safety and security with Paykeeper. Their escrow accounts are FDIC insured. That's important. It means their funds aren't just in somebody's account and who knows what can happen to them. They're insured. They have the FDIC insurance. We are a licensed third-party escrow company. We're not just some dude that they're giving money to give to somebody else. We have to abide by licenses. We have to abide by policies. With each individual state in the country, we are an escrow licensed company. So it's rigorous application and standards and renewals. Like it's a whole process to be able to be an escrow company, and we abide by that. So those type of security and process is important for them to be able to know. There's other benefits too, right? when you sell a deal, you want that deal to go through. You want it to be a completed sale, right? When you're able to secure funds up front, there's a higher likelihood of that full project completing, right? Because you're not chasing funds. If there's issue in gathering funds, you're finding that out earlier on rather than at the end of a project, which is far better spot to be able to know if there's concerns up front. So there's a lot of benefit of making sure if you go through Paykeeper, it tends to be a much stickier deal than a traditional cash deal. So there's value there for you on that side. Andy, anything you want to add here on this space from your side, from what you've seen?
Look, I think the being able to explain what it is in the fewest number of words as simply as possible is one of the biggest advantages to a sales rep in a home, or a consultant explaining how this works and the benefits from it. We might touch on it later on in one of these slides, but this is also one of the safest ways for the rep to guarantee that they're going to get paid on time through this job. We find that a lot of checks are in the mail, right, so to speak, in the solar industry when someone asks for an actual check or ACH, or, they need an invoice, right? That invoice gets to the homeowner and then they pay you back whenever they're going to pay you, right? Like, you're waiting for those funds to be delivered. This is all in-app. There's reminders that are going out. It's increasing. Like, look, we just went right to it. You're taking the words right out of my mouth.
Yep.
All of that information and making the homeowner feel secure in doing it, so that it feels like they're in control of this process, which is really important.
I'd also just throw in, and maybe we can, touch on it towards the end, but the fact that we have this third party partnership, anytime you can get that kind of second voice or third voice, as it were, or whatever, to lend credibility, that's going to boost confidence. So yeah, like, I mean, Jeremy, Tara, I'm going to, throw you guys out as a sales tool yourselves. You're not tools. I'm not calling you tools. I'm saying that you guys
Call us whatever you want.
No, but you guys are there to help kind of ease those concerns. If somebody does say like, oh, well, wait a minute, well, who are these guys? Why am I giving money to them? You guys can be there as that point of contact to explain the process very simply, reassure, hey, that's great. And also it kind of is something we're grateful here at ESP that we can have partners like you that are, thoroughly vetted and have to abide by all these regulations, because we want to be as above board as we possibly can and not have anybody feel like, oh man, are they a flighty, like, where are these contractors going to disappear as soon as I've sent my check or whatever. We're in it. We're here to stay for the long haul, and customers have that visibility throughout this entire process. And you can point to partnerships like yours to say, yeah, look, we've partnered with them because they're legit. They go through these vetting processes with everybody they work with, and we're one of them. So we're proud of that.
Yeah, appreciate that. And to that same vein too, like, Paykeeper's not just some like random, like, throw in another process just for a process. Like, Paykeeper is the standard for collecting cash deals. Like, this is how the industry is changing. This is how the experience is. This, you're going to start seeing homeowners start to want this type of process in place because it's such a safer platform. And so it's amazing that ESP has been able to adopt us and see those benefits. I'm excited for you guys to be able to see the same thing. So to Andy's point here, I won't touch too much on this as he kind of covered all of this, but the more likelihood a job is to go through, and the more likely you have funds, the quicker a job moves. The quicker a job moves and is completed, the quicker you get paid, right? Like, there's value in that. It is worth leveraging Paykeeper for those reasons. Okay. I won't spend too much on this slide. I just want you to know this is also more affordable operationally. It costs a lot to chase checks. Paykeeper removes that out of the equation. You don't have to chase checks, so it saves money operationally for the EPC as well.
Our accounting team loves you guys. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Makes their life easy as well. So let's just do a quick recap here. I just want to bring really the highlighted points of kind of why Paykeeper, and just do a quick summary. So higher conversion of cash sales, right? Quicker job completion, which means quicker time for commissions. And it's a simple platform for homeowners to be able to use. these are the kind of, if you're going to walk away from this thinking anything, those are the 4 things I want you to walk away remembering. Is it's simple, I get paid faster, and it's safer. Like, think about those things and remember that. I want to make sure that you guys have my contact information. So this is here. I'll make sure, I mean, Andy has this information as well, but this is here. You can contact us a numerous amount of ways. We have a live chat on our website through paykeeper.com. You can call us directly. If you'd rather just text us, we got a number you can text us on. You can text us back and forth. If you want to email us, we've got a support email. All of that is there for you to be able to leverage us, and it's live support. So we will get to you right away in a moment when you need us. The other thing that I wanted to make clear is, I'm sure, in this audience that we're kind of targeting this to, there's probably a handful of you who do a lot of cash deals. Like, this might be the thing that you love to do. You may be able to love cash deals, right? And this is something that you want to be really, really good at. I want to offer up, like, for the relationships I have with other companies that we work with, having a direct relationship with me, Jeremy, has proven to be very lucrative for you to be able to be sufficient at that. So if you want to be able to have a direct relationship with Jeremy, have my personal cell phone number, I'll let Andy kind of be the one to pull that filter, but reach out. I'd love to be able to have you to have my direct number. If you're doing this consistently, I want you to have a direct resource and a conversation as well. So I'm going to throw that out there as an option for you. Just reach out to Andy if that's something that you want to be able to do. So that's the presentation I wanted to cover today. I want to have some time for Q&A. Before we jump to Q&A, is there anything, Andy or Danny, you want to add to this?
I think one thing that I would like to add is the pay schedule for anybody listening here, or anybody who's been waiting for that. $1,000 down at signing, 80% at installation, 15% at final inspection, and 5%, which we already touched on, at PTO, which is what the homeowner is signing off on at the very end of the project. So again, I'll say it, $1,000 at time booking or sale or contract signing, 80% at install, 15 at final inspection, 5% at PTO.
Just to be clear though, they do need to fully fund the account. So they do need to put that 100% in prior to the installation getting scheduled, but we're not going to get all that money. We get the money at those milestones. So that's something to just, make sure that that discrepancy is clear for all your customers.
Yeah, we don't take the funds until those milestones are met.
They'll get
Or
exactly.
even better way to put it is, Paykeeper doesn't release the funds until those milestones are met. Those milestones have been met along the way. So again,
those are the things we are verifying.
Yeah, super safe, super secure. It's in an escrow account. It's FDIC assured. I don't know what FDIC stands for. Can you tell me what that means? I just know that that means banking terminology, and it's safe of some kind, or it's regulated body.
So the thing that's valuable, so I think what's been kind of in the news in the last year or so that's more relevant, I don't know if you guys heard of Silicon Valley Bank, but they went out of business and people had money in their account. The FDIC insurance is the federal insurance that makes sure that your funds are protected. So even if the banking institution, that money disappears, like, the federal government will cover those funds and they're secure. So the FDIC insurance makes sure that, like, doesn't matter what happens to us or in the world, or if everything's go down, the federal government is insuring those funds.
Awesome. I learned something. Woohoo.
Yeah. Great. That's a great question to ask, and maybe a Q&A. If you have questions, throw it in to the chat and we'll cover those. We'll give you a couple minutes.
Yeah, again, really appreciate you guys coming on. I think it's super valuable just to, put a face to the name and have that personal relationship for anybody who does want to really, hit the ground running and just say, look, a lot of cash customers, and especially the more that happens, and as projects kind of progress these days, some of these solar projects are very, very expensive. So people want that assurance that, okay, yeah, this is legit. This is, triple verified. You guys get to play the referee on us and make sure, yeah, okay, I have the money in the holding pen, and then you guys get to blow the whistle before, any of it gets let out. So,
the message can be, we care so much about making sure that your funds are safe and secure that we use Paykeeper for that reason, right?
There you go.
That's why we exist. So.
Take that away. Soundbite. That's it. Right there.
And for anybody watching right now, if you want to share it with any of your teammates or any of your friends or anybody else out there, this will be recorded. We'll probably send it out in a newsletter of some kind very
Yep.
soon. So watch this space, watch your emails, watch for your texts. We'll send the link out so everybody can rewatch this over and over and over again. But you really probably only need to see it once because it's that simple.
Absolutely.
Also, this Q&A doesn't have to exist within this webinar. I showed you how to contact us. You can ask us a question anytime you want, and we'll give you a direct answer. So know that that channel exists. Tara's sitting there live and ready to answer any question you've got. So bring
Nice.
them in
Headset,
and let us
headset
know.
on, ready to go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, cool. I think this has been really good. Jeremy, Tara, thank you so much for joining on. Danny, you're the best. I'll let you
I
close
got
this
you,
thing
buddy.
out. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep it simple. Sell well. I don't know. Yeah. Let's get out of here. Happy selling, everybody.
Cool.
Appreciate you hopping
Thanks,
on.
everyone.
See you next time.